Thank you for choosing Empower Audio. We're truly grateful you're here and that you've chosen to invest your time in your growth today. Time is your most valuable resource, and the fact that you're spending it intentionally says a lot about the kind of person you are and the future you're building. At Empower Audio, our mission is simple: to bring you powerful ideas, practical wisdom, and meaningful lessons that help you grow, focus, and move forward in your life. We believe learning should be accessible, motivating, and something you can return to again and again. Whether you're listening during a quiet moment, on a walk, while working, or as part of your daily routine, know that this time is an investment in yourself. There is no rush, no pressure, just steady progress. If you find value in this audiobook, we invite you to support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps us continue creating content that empowers people around the world to take control of their mindset, their habits, and their future. Now take a breath, settle in, and allow yourself to fully engage with what's ahead. This is Empower Audio. And this is Time is Your Greatest Asset: How High Performers Take Control of Their Day. Let's begin. Time is your greatest asset: how high performers take control of their day. Time is the one resource every human being shares equally, yet the outcomes could not be more different. Some people build extraordinary lives, careers, relationships, and inner peace, while others remain stuck, overwhelmed, and constantly behind. The difference is not talent, it is not intelligence, it is not luck. The difference is how time is understood, respected, and used. High performers do not have more time than you. They simply treat time differently. They see time as an asset, not something to kill, waste, or escape from. They understand that how they spend their days is how they spend their lives. Every hour invested intentionally compounds. Every hour wasted silently disappears forever. Most people wait for motivation to manage their time. High performers manage their time so motivation becomes unnecessary. They do not rely on willpower, they rely on systems. They do not react to their day, they design it. This audiobook will change the way you think about time, not by overwhelming you with schedules or rigid rules, but by helping you develop a mindset of ownership. Because once you own your time, everything else becomes easier. Your goals feel reachable, your stress decreases, your confidence grows, you stop rushing through life and start directing it. Time mastery begins with awareness. Most people underestimate how much time they actually have and overestimate how much they can do without structure. Days fill themselves if you let them. Notifications interrupt you. Requests pull you in different directions. Urgent tasks crowd out important ones. Without intention, time becomes fragmented. High performers are not busy, they are selective. They understand that saying yes to everything is the fastest way to lose control of their day. They protect their mornings. They guard their focus. They limit distractions. They understand that energy is finite and attention is fragile. Time management is not about squeezing more into your day. It is about removing what does not matter so what does matter can breathe. One of the biggest lies about time is the belief that you need large blocks of free time to make progress. High performers know that consistency beats intensity. 30 focused minutes a day, repeated daily, will outperform occasional bursts of motivation every time. Momentum is built through rhythm, not pressure. Another lie is that multitasking saves time. It does not. It fractures attention and lowers quality. High performers focus on one thing at a time. They do fewer things, but they do them better. They create depth instead of chaos. If you feel overwhelmed, it is not because you are incapable. It is because too much is competing for your attention. Clarity eliminates overwhelm. When you know what matters today, everything else becomes noise. High performers begin their day with intention. They do not wake up and check their phone immediately. They do not let emails decide their priorities. They take control early, before the world starts making demands. Even 10 intentional minutes in the morning can shift the entire tone of a day. They ask better questions. What matters most today? What moves my life forward? What can wait? What does not deserve my energy? Time mastery is about making decisions once instead of repeatedly. When routines are in place, mental energy is preserved. When priorities are clear, decision fatigue disappears. When boundaries are respected, focus becomes natural. Many people confuse motion with progress. High performers measure progress by results, not activity. They understand that being busy feels productive, but it often leads nowhere. True productivity feels calm, not frantic. You do not need to overhaul your life to take control of your time. You need to become more intentional with the life you already have. Small changes, applied consistently, create massive shifts over time. This audiobook will help you build those changes. You will learn how to structure your day without rigidity, how to focus without burnout, how to plan without pressure, how to work with your energy instead of fighting it. Time is your greatest asset because it is the foundation of everything else. Your health, your success, your relationships, your peace of mind. When you manage your time well, you respect your life. And when you respect your life, you begin to live it fully. High performers understand something most people overlook. Your calendar is not just a planning tool. It is a mirror. It reflects what you value, what you avoid, and what you allow. If you want to know where your life is going, look at how you spend your hours. Time never lies. Most people live in reaction mode. They respond to messages, requests, deadlines, and problems all day long. By the time the day ends, they feel drained, yet unsure what they actually accomplished. This creates a cycle of frustration. The busier they become, the less progress they feel. High performers break this cycle by shifting from reaction to intention. They decide in advance what deserves their best energy. They do not wait until they feel ready. They do not wait until life slows down. They move first. They claim space for what matters before distractions take over. One of the most powerful shifts in time mastery is understanding the difference between urgent and important. Urgent tasks demand attention now. Important tasks create long-term results. Most people spend their days handling what screams the loudest, not what matters the most. High performers flip this pattern. They schedule important work first. Deep work, thinking time, health, planning, growth. These are not optional extras. These are priorities. Urgent tasks are handled after the important ones are protected. This is why many successful people appear calm under pressure. They are not calm because life is easy. They are calm because their priorities are clear. Another key principle is ownership. High performers do not say, "I do not have time." They say, "This is not a priority right now." That small language shift changes everything. It removes victimhood and restores control. Time is not taken from you, you give it away. When you start taking responsibility for how your time is used, excuses lose their power, complaints turn into choices, and choices turn into direction. Energy management is just as important as time management. You can have all the time in the world, but without energy, nothing meaningful happens. High performers know when they work best. Some are sharp in the morning, others come alive later in the day. They align demanding tasks with high energy periods whenever possible. They also understand recovery. Rest is not laziness, it is maintenance. Without rest, focus declines, creativity fades, discipline weakens. Sustainable success requires cycles of effort and renewal. Many people burn out not because they work too hard, but because they work without intention or boundaries. High performers rest strategically so they can perform consistently. Distraction is one of the greatest enemies of time mastery. Phones, notifications, constant input. These things fracture attention and quietly steal hours. High performers reduce friction. They silence unnecessary notifications. They create environments that support focus instead of sabotage it. They do not rely on willpower alone. They design their surroundings to make focus easier and distraction harder. Time mastery also requires saying no. This is uncomfortable for many people. They fear disappointing others or missing opportunities, but every yes costs something. It costs time, energy, and attention. High performers understand that protecting their time protects their future. Saying no is not selfish, it is strategic. Another overlooked skill is planning the end of the day, not just the beginning. High performers often take a few minutes to reflect. What worked today? What did not? What matters tomorrow? This small habit creates clarity and momentum. Each day builds on the last. They do not seek perfection, they seek progress. Missed days do not turn into quitting. Mistakes become feedback. Consistency is more important than intensity. Time mastery is not about becoming rigid, it is about becoming intentional. Structure creates freedom. When your priorities are planned, your mind relaxes. You stop carrying everything in your head, you trust your system. As you continue listening, remember this. You are not behind, you are not broken. You do not need to fix everything at once. You only need to start making time work for you instead of against you. Time is your greatest asset, and once you learn how to use it well, your entire life begins to shift. Time mastery begins with one simple truth. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. High performers understand this deeply. They do not rely on motivation to guide their days. Motivation is unpredictable. It comes and goes. Systems are reliable. Systems show up even when you do not feel like it. Most people wait to feel inspired before they take action. High performers take action first, and inspiration follows. This is why they appear disciplined. Discipline is not about force, it is about design. When your environment, routines, and expectations are aligned, progress becomes natural. One of the most important systems high performers build is a daily structure that supports focus. This does not mean every minute is scheduled. It means the most important things already have a place. When priorities are pre-decided, distractions lose their power. High performers often start their day with a clear anchor, 1 or 2 tasks that matter most, not 10, not 20, just the few that move their life forward. These tasks are protected. They are not postponed until the end of the day when energy is gone. This approach creates momentum. When you complete meaningful work early, the rest of the day feels lighter. Even challenges feel manageable because progress has already been made. Another key difference is how high performers handle procrastination. They do not label themselves as lazy. They understand procrastination is usually a signal. A task may be unclear, too large, emotionally uncomfortable, or disconnected from purpose. Instead of avoiding the task, they break it down. They simplify. They focus on starting, not finishing. Momentum often begins with the smallest action. Time mastery also requires learning how to manage attention. Attention is the currency of productivity. Where your attention goes, your life follows. High performers guard their attention fiercely. They understand that constant interruption prevents deep thinking and meaningful work. This is why many successful people schedule time for focus. No meetings, no messages, no notifications, just uninterrupted space to think, create, and build. Even short periods of focused work can create powerful results. 30 minutes of deep focus is often more productive than 3 hours of distracted effort. High performers also recognize the importance of transitions. Rushing from task to task creates mental clutter. Taking even a brief pause between activities helps reset attention. A deep breath, a stretch, a moment of awareness. These small practices protect energy throughout the day. Another critical element of time mastery is alignment. High performers align their time with their values. They do not just work for outcomes. They work in ways that feel meaningful. When time and values are aligned, motivation becomes sustainable. If something feels constantly draining, it is often because it is misaligned. Time mastery is not about forcing yourself to live a life you do not want. It is about shaping your days to reflect what matters most to you. High performers also understand seasons. Not every day is for pushing. Not every week is for growth. Some seasons require maintenance. Others require rest. Time mastery allows flexibility without chaos. They do not judge themselves for slower periods. They adjust. They plan. They respond with awareness instead of guilt. As you listen, notice what resonates. Notice where your time feels scattered. Notice where small changes could create relief. You do not need to apply everything at once. Choose one idea, one shift, one system. Over time, these small adjustments compound. Confidence grows, stress decreases, direction becomes clear. Time is your greatest asset, and learning how to use it wisely is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people think discipline means forcing yourself to do things you hate, pushing through exhaustion, or living under constant pressure. High performers know discipline is something very different. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Time mastery depends on this distinction. In every moment, you are choosing between comfort and progress, distraction and focus, reaction and intention. High performers do not eliminate temptation. They reduce exposure to it. They remove friction from good habits and add friction to bad ones. If something matters, it becomes easy to access. If something distracts, it becomes inconvenient. This is why discipline feels lighter for high performers. They are not fighting their environment. Their environment supports them. Another important principle is identity. High performers do not ask, "What should I do?" They ask, "Who do I want to become?" Time is then used in service of that identity. A focused person uses time differently than a distracted one. A healthy person schedules movement and rest. A leader protects thinking time. When identity leads, habits follow naturally. Many people overplan and under-execute. High performers do the opposite. They plan simply and execute consistently. They understand that planning is only valuable if it leads to action. They also know when to stop planning. Over-planning can become a form of procrastination. At some point, clarity is sufficient. Action is required. Time mastery requires courage. The courage to start before you feel ready. The courage to say no without explanation. The courage to protect time even when others do not understand. High performers respect their future self. They understand that the person they will be in 1 year is shaped by how they use time today. Every focused hour is a gift to that future self. Every wasted hour is a missed opportunity. This does not mean perfection, it means intention. It means showing up more often than not. Another essential skill is recovery. High performers know when to stop. They know that exhaustion destroys judgment. They take breaks before they need them. They sleep, they step away, they disconnect. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. Time mastery is not about squeezing life dry. It is about creating space to live fully. When your time is aligned, you have room for work, rest, relationships, and growth. As you continue this journey, remember this. You are allowed to change how you use your time. You are allowed to protect it. You are allowed to design your day in a way that supports your goals and your well-being. The world will always ask for more. High performers decide what they give. High performers understand that routines are not restrictive. They are stabilizing. A well-designed routine removes chaos from the day and creates a foundation of calm focus. When certain actions happen automatically, mental energy is preserved for what truly matters. Many people resist routines because they fear boredom or loss of freedom, but freedom comes from structure, not the absence of it. When you know what comes next, your mind relaxes. You stop constantly deciding and start consistently doing. Morning routines are especially powerful, not because mornings are magical, but because they set direction. High performers use the early part of the day to establish control before external demands begin. Even a simple routine can create a sense of ownership. This does not mean waking up at extreme hours or following rigid rituals. It means starting the day with intention instead of reaction. A few moments of clarity, a clear focus, a reminder of what matters. Equally important are closing routines. How you end your day affects how you begin the next. High performers often take a few minutes to reset. They review what was accomplished. They prepare for tomorrow. They let go of unfinished tasks by trusting their system. This practice reduces anxiety and improves sleep. The mind rests better when it knows nothing is being forgotten. Another powerful routine is the weekly reset. High performers step back regularly to look at the bigger picture. They review progress. They adjust priorities. They plan the upcoming week with intention. Without this reset, days blend together and direction is lost. With it, life feels guided instead of rushed. Time mastery also requires flexibility. Even the best plans will be disrupted. High performers adapt without panic. They adjust without abandoning structure entirely. One disrupted day does not become a lost week. They focus on returning to rhythm, not chasing perfection. Another important habit is protecting focus blocks. These are dedicated periods for meaningful work. No multitasking, no interruptions, just presence. High performers schedule these blocks and treat them as non-negotiable appointments. Focus blocks create depth. Depth creates quality. Quality creates results. High performers also understand the value of empty space. Not every moment needs to be filled. White space allows thinking, creativity, recovery, insight. Some of the best ideas come when there is room for them. Time mastery is not about constant output. It is about intentional balance. As you listen, consider this. Where could routines simplify your life? Where could structure reduce stress? Where could small habits create lasting change? You do not need a perfect system. You need one that works for you. Time is your greatest asset, and when you learn to shape it with care, your days begin to support the life you want to live. One of the greatest challenges in time management is decision fatigue. Every choice you make throughout the day consumes mental energy. What to work on next, what to respond to, what to postpone. By the end of the day, even simple decisions feel exhausting. High performers reduce decision fatigue by deciding in advance. They predefine priorities. They limit options. They create rules for themselves so they do not have to negotiate with their mind repeatedly. For example, they may decide when work begins and ends, when messages are checked, when deep work happens. These decisions are not debated daily. They are already made. This frees up mental space and increases consistency. Prioritization is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things. High performers understand that not all tasks are equal. Some actions create leverage, others create maintenance. They focus their best energy on high-leverage activities. They ask themselves powerful questions. What will make the biggest difference today? What will still matter a year from now? What only I can do? These questions guide attention toward impact instead of urgency. High performers also understand the cost of interruption. Every interruption breaks focus and requires time to re-engage. This hidden cost is why many people feel busy but unproductive. Constant switching fragments attention and drains energy. To counter this, high performers batch similar tasks together. They answer messages at set times. They group administrative work. They reduce context switching. This approach creates flow and efficiency. Another important element of time mastery is learning how to let go. Not everything deserves completion. Some tasks are outdated. Some goals no longer align. High performers regularly reassess and release what no longer serves their direction. Letting go creates space. Space creates clarity. Many people hold on to commitments out of guilt or fear. High performers make choices based on alignment, not obligation. They understand that holding on to the wrong things costs time that could be invested in the right ones. Time mastery also requires self-honesty. Where is time being lost? What patterns repeat? Which distractions provide comfort but no value? There is no judgment in this awareness, only information. Awareness leads to change. High performers track time not to control it, but to understand it. Even brief periods of observation can reveal powerful insights, where time leaks, where energy spikes, where focus thrives. This knowledge allows for intelligent adjustments. Remember, time mastery is a practice. It evolves as your life evolves. What works in one season may need adjustment in another. Flexibility is part of mastery. You are not failing if you need to revise your approach. You are learning. As this audiobook continues, you are building a new relationship with time, one based on respect, intention, and ownership. Time is your greatest asset, and you are learning how to invest it wisely. Distraction is not just an external problem, it is an internal one. Phones, notifications, and constant information are only powerful because they tap into deeper habits of avoidance, discomfort, and restlessness. High performers understand this and address distraction at its root. When a task feels challenging, unclear, or emotionally uncomfortable, the mind looks for escape, checking messages, scrolling, switching tasks. These behaviors provide temporary relief but create long-term cost. High performers notice this pattern without judgment. Instead of fighting distraction, they reduce its appeal. They make the next right action clear and manageable. Clarity reduces resistance. One powerful strategy is defining what focus actually means. Focus is not working longer. It is working without divided attention. Even short periods of undivided attention can produce meaningful results. High performers train their focus like a muscle. They start with small intervals and gradually increase. They do not expect perfect concentration immediately. They practice returning attention again and again. Another important tool is intention setting. Before starting a task, high performers decide what success looks like for that session. Not vague goals, but clear outcomes. When the mind knows what it is working toward, it is less likely to wander. They also create rituals around focus, simple cues that signal the brain it is time to work, a specific location, a certain sound, a consistent start time. These cues reduce friction and make focus more automatic. High performers also limit inputs. They are intentional about what they consume. Too much information creates mental clutter. They choose quality over quantity. They protect their mental space. Silence and stillness are undervalued tools. Many high performers intentionally create moments without stimulation. Walks, quiet reflection, time without devices. These moments restore clarity and creativity. Focus is also supported by physical well-being. Sleep, movement, nutrition. These are not separate from time mastery. They are foundational. A tired mind struggles to focus regardless of intention. High performers respect this connection. They care for their body so their time can be used effectively. Another critical skill is learning when to stop. Overworking reduces quality. Diminishing returns appear quickly when focus is exhausted. High performers end work sessions deliberately. They stop while energy is still available. This builds trust with the mind and body. It makes returning to work easier next time. Distraction will never disappear completely. Mastery is not elimination. It is awareness and redirection. Each time you notice distraction and return to focus, you strengthen your capacity. This is progress. As you listen, consider this. Where does your attention go most easily? Where does it drift? What environments support focus for you? Time mastery is not about fighting yourself. It is about understanding yourself. And when you understand how your attention works, you gain one of the most valuable advantages available. Long-term success is not created by dramatic moments. It is built quietly, through small choices repeated consistently over time. High performers understand this and use long-term planning not as pressure, but as guidance. They do not obsess over distant goals every day. They use goals to set direction, then focus on daily actions that align with that direction. Time mastery is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. One of the most effective planning tools high performers use is backward thinking. They start with the future and work backward. If this is where I want to be in 1 year, what needs to be true in 6 months, in 3 months, this week, today? This approach makes big goals feel manageable. It turns vision into action. High performers also understand that not every goal deserves equal attention. Seasons matter. There are times for building, times for maintaining, and times for resting. Trying to push everything forward at once leads to burnout. They choose focus for each season. 1 or 2 priorities receive primary energy. Everything else is maintained at a basic level. Time mastery also requires letting go of comparison. Everyone's timeline is different. Comparing your pace to someone else's steals attention and creates unnecessary pressure. High performers focus inward. They measure progress against their own values and direction. They also allow goals to evolve. Growth often reveals new desires and priorities. Adjusting goals is not failure, it is alignment. Another powerful practice is aligning time with values. Ask yourself what truly matters: health, relationships, growth, contribution, peace. Then look honestly at how time is spent. Alignment does not require perfection. It requires awareness and adjustment. High performers regularly revisit this alignment. They make small corrections before misalignment becomes crisis. They also understand the power of saying no to good opportunities in order to say yes to great ones. Opportunity cost is real. Every commitment limits what else is possible. Time mastery means choosing deliberately, not reactively. As you build a long-term view, remember this: your life is not a race, it is a direction. Time mastery allows you to move steadily, intentionally, and sustainably. You do not need to rush, you need to aim. Time is your greatest asset, and when you align it with your values and vision, progress becomes inevitable. At this point in the audiobook, one thing should be clear: time mastery is not a single technique. It is a way of living. It is how you think, how you decide, and how you show up day after day. High performers do not chase perfect days. They build reliable ones. They create systems that support them when motivation is low and life is unpredictable. They return to basics again and again. One of the most practical ways to bring everything together is through a simple daily framework. Not a strict schedule, but a rhythm. A flow that guides attention without creating pressure. High performers often organize their day around 3 types of time: focus time for meaningful work, maintenance time for necessary tasks, and recovery time for rest and renewal. When all 3 are honored, days feel balanced instead of chaotic. Many people overfill focus time and neglect recovery. This leads to burnout and resentment. Time mastery requires balance, not excess. Another essential habit is reviewing and adjusting. High performers reflect regularly. What worked? What didn't? What needs to change? This reflection is not criticism, it is curiosity. Small adjustments made consistently prevent large problems later. Time mastery also requires compassion. Life will disrupt plans, energy will fluctuate, mistakes will happen. High performers respond with flexibility instead of self-judgment. They return to their system without drama. This ability to reset quickly is one of their greatest strengths. It is also important to recognize that time mastery is deeply personal. What works for someone else may not work for you. Your energy, responsibilities, and values are unique. Use principles, not rigid rules. Design a life that fits you. As you continue forward, focus on progress, not perfection. Each intentional choice strengthens your relationship with time. Each boundary protects your future. Each focused moment builds momentum. Time mastery is a lifelong practice, and like any practice, it grows with patience and consistency. You are capable of managing your time in a way that supports your goals, your health, and your peace of mind. Time is your greatest asset, and you are learning how to use it well. As we come toward the end of this audiobook, take a moment to reflect, not on everything you heard, but on what stood out, the ideas that stayed with you, the moments that felt true. Those are your signals. That is where change begins. Time mastery does not require dramatic transformation. It requires awareness and commitment. A commitment to show up with intention. A commitment to protect what matters. A commitment to respect your own time as much as you respect the time of others. High performers do not live without struggle. They simply choose how they respond to it. They They choose preparation over panic, structure over chaos, direction over drift. The greatest shift you can make is moving from asking, "How do I fit everything in?" to asking, "What truly deserves my time?" This question changes everything. It removes guilt, it creates clarity, it gives you permission to let go. Your time is not just hours on a clock, it is your attention, your energy, your presence, it is how your life is expressed. Every day you are shaping your future through small choices. What you focus on, what you postpone, what you protect, these choices compound, quietly, consistently. There will always be more to do than time allows. That is not a problem to solve. It is a reality to accept. Mastery comes from choosing wisely, not doing everything. If you take only one thing from this audiobook, let it be this. You have more control over your time than you think, and even small shifts, applied consistently, can change the way your days feel. Begin where you are, simplify, clarify, protect your focus, honor your energy, review and adjust. And remember, time mastery is not about squeezing more out of life. It is about making space to live it fully. Thank you for spending your time with Empower Audio. We are honored to be part of your growth journey. Time is your greatest asset. Use it with intention.